3, 2, 1. You like that countdown? All right. Welcome to the Wingstop podcast. Say that.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's our first podcast here at Wingstop. My name is Donnie Upshaw. I'm the Chief People Officer. I also lead our corporate restaurants here. And I've been with the organization for 5 years. And I love it here. And one of the reasons why is our culture. Our culture is really strong. We spend a lot of time focusing on culture, and what I mean by that is making sure our organization is healthy. We have the right support for our team members, and we lean into our values, and one of those values is fun, and we're going to have a bit of fun today. It's Hispanic Heritage Month, and what better way to kick off the podcast and to talk to one of our team members who really embodies not only our values, but what we call flavor here at Wingstop. And one of our flavors are our secret sauces, our team members. And so I'd like to introduce to the pod Natalie Calderon, who's our HR generalist here at Wingstop. And she supports a lot of things in the organization, touches a lot of different teams. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Natalie and let her introduce herself.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very excited for this podcast. So my name's Natalie. Yes, I'm on the people team. So yes, to Donnie's point, I touch a lot of things within the organization. I've been here for 2 years now, which is crazy to say.
Seems longer than that.
I know, it does seem longer than that. So I think what's kind of interesting about how I got here was that I initially interviewed to be your EA.
Yeah, I know. God bless you.
I know. But then I guess I kind of shared a little bit that I had HR experience, and then the opportunity just kind of presented itself, and now I'm here 2 years later. So
yeah, great. And good thing you didn't become my EA because that's a tough job. So one thing about Wingstop and our culture is, again, I talked about it as a flavor that every team member brings. We want them to bring their whole selves to work and their uniqueness to work. And one of those things that we want to talk about today is Hispanic Heritage Month. So I'd love to hear from you. Just your background, your culture, share with the audience here what Natalie brings to the organization from a Hispanic Heritage perspective. I'd love to hear that.
Sure, sir. My family is Salvadorian. My dad was born in El Salvador, and my mom was actually born in the States. So I kind of got the best of both worlds, where I kind of got that upbringing, very Hispanic, very strict background from my dad. And my mom was a little bit more relaxed and kind of let me do my own thing.
It sounds like my house.
And so my dad really brought a lot of different traditions, I would say, and really tried to hold those like values within our household, kind of like to an extent, kind of that patriarchal. So I would say that. And then growing up, I never really got a chance to go and visit El Salvador until I was much older. So I was, I think, 20 when I was able to visit finally.
What was that experience like?
It was very, I guess, eye-opening, I would say, because I got a chance to see where my dad grew up. Yeah. And it made me appreciate everything that I had. Yeah. And it kind of made sense to where a lot of the things that he taught us growing up, it's like you always have to work hard. He instilled that in us every single day. And then also just appreciate everything that you have, because visiting the house that my dad grew up in, it was shocking because they don't have running water where he grew up. And so like there was a toilet where he's like, this is where we would use the restroom. This is where we would shower. And it was like freezing cold water. And I'm like, I don't want to stay here. Can we go back to where we were? Yeah. So it was very shocking. And just seeing that was very eye-opening. And I appreciated a lot of of what we had and what we still have today. Sure. So yeah.
Oh, for great perspective, I bet.
Yes, it did. It really did.
Yeah. Of those values, how do you apply that to what you do today at Wingstop? Those values that he instilled at you it sounds like a very young age.
Yes. I would say the biggest one, again, is like my work ethic and just appreciating everything I do. So just showing up every single day and giving it my all. Yeah. I think you definitely have to do that at Wingstop. I would say we work hard, but we also play hard too. Sure. We also have a lot of fun here. And so I think that's just the biggest value that he definitely instilled in us, and just showing up every single day.
Yeah. Speaking of flavor, let's talk food. So favorite food growing up from your background and your heritage. And then what do you make today that makes you feel like home?
So Honestly, I don't know how to make a lot of the traditional foods, but my favorite food, I would say, is pupusas, which is...
break that down for the folks. Let's break that down. One more time. Say that again.
It's called pupusas. It honestly sounds gross, but it's delicious. We had them last year.
I trust you.
We had them last year. We had them here for lunch. I don't know if anyone remembers, but we did have them.
Okay.
They're amazing. Darius likes to call them hot pockets, Salvadorian hot pockets. Okay. So it's almost
for the folks. Who's Darius?
Darius is my boyfriend of many years.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So it's like a handmade tortilla, and it's stuffed with really anything you want.
Okay.
We typically make them with beans and cheese.
Okay.
That's
sounds
like
yummy.
the go-to, and then you can eat them. Honestly, you can eat them at any time of the day.
Okay.
We'll sometimes have them for breakfast, or we'll have them for dinner.
Very cool.
Really, you can eat them at any time. So that's one of the big ones. Another one is panes con pollo, which is like literally like a bread stuffed with like chicken and like a bunch of other toppings. I'm trying to think of what else.
And who makes that? Your mom or dad?
No. So everything, any Salvadorian dish, it's my grandma, my aunt, and then my cousins.
Okay.
I know how to make pupusas, but they're not great. I'm still learning. I just want to make sure that I can keep the traditions alive.
Yeah, sure.
But every time my aunt comes to visit, she usually visits at least twice a year. She tries to teach me how to make different things.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's talk about Wingstop and in terms of having the ability to show up and be yourself every single day. What that means for you, especially someone that's of Hispanic background, and how that shows up here at Wingstop. Yeah.
Yep. I would say Wingstop. One of our values is being authentic, and I think everyone can actually come to work and be themselves. And like I would say, this podcast is a perfect example of that. Being able to share my experience, my background, and things like that is a perfect way of showing that. But also through, I would say, music. We can play any kind of music we want throughout the day as long as it's clean.
Yeah, clean versions only.
Clean versions only. And then just I can come to work and actually be myself and be accepted for who I am. And I think that goes for really everyone within the organization, because it's not like you can't go to a corporate office and you see the CPO in Jordans. Like, so everyone can definitely just come to the office and just be themselves. And I really appreciate that about Wingstop.
Yeah, I think that's really important, especially for me as leading the function that we call people, is that authenticity has to show up in not only how we behave, but how we reward our team members, what's important to the organization. When we talk about expectations, like I want people to feel like they can be themselves every single day, regardless of their background, regardless of where they grew up, regardless of what school they attended. All those things are really important because I think it makes us who we are. The diversity in thought, the diversity in backgrounds really is a culmination of this flavor that we call our team and our culture. And that's, to me, I think that's really important. From a Wingstop perspective, your favorite thing that you've either been a part of or experience that you've had at Wingstop in your 2 years here?
That's hard.
I'm making you pick one.
My one favorite experience? Let's see.
Or favorite part of your job? Or favorite person? It can be me.
I would say, I guess the favorite part of my job is just the high level of visibility that I get.
Yeah.
I think I touch a lot of different things. I get to work with Michael's team a lot, not really directly, but some of the work that I do gets seen by Michael's team.
Yeah.
And then kind of just you bringing us along the way. I think you do a great job of that with our entire team.
Oh.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I hear that a lot is like exposure. Not every organization you get the opportunity to talk to senior leadership, interact with senior leadership, and influence at that level.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things we really take a lot of pride in here as well, is being approachable, being an organization that understands, who really makes it happen, and values that. I think those things are really important. So that's good to hear it show up. Now, let's talk a little, I know this is probably one of the most difficult questions you'll have in this pod, but your thoughts on, I know you're a quasi-Chiefs fan, so your thoughts on Kelsey and Taylor.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's go. Let's get into it.
So I feel like I'm the opposite. So like I wasn't a big Taylor Swift fan before.
Okay.
Like listen to her music, but not really I didn't really get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so since Darius watches the Chiefs, I was like, okay, I'm kind of here for it.
Okay.
I'm all here for it.
Okay.
I mean, his jersey sales went up.
Yeah.
But she does need to educate her fans because they've been misspelling his name.
Yeah, I saw that on the back of some jerseys. So sounds like you're becoming a Swiftie, though.
I am becoming a Swiftie.
Okay, all right, let's go. I'm intrigued by it as well, honestly. I think it's a interesting dynamic that is created, and you see the influence of marketing show up as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see. All right. So let's get back to Hispanic Heritage Month and just the importance of, for Wingstop, I think for us is we try to bring education, exposure, as well as knowledge about different backgrounds, especially, diversity in our organization. And I talked about that being really important to us. What does that mean to you and your family, the fact that you have this type of platform to talk about where you grew up, your parents? What does that really mean for you?
I would say honestly, it means a lot, to be honest. And I think my parents always kind of taught me to never be embarrassed of where I come from. And I think growing up, it was always kind of interesting because I never felt like I fit like both sides. So growing up, my cousins would visit and like, they're obviously born in El Salvador. I was born in the U.S. And so it was always very like, oh, well, you're not Hispanic enough. Yeah, sure. And I think growing up, I really had an opportunity to really, I guess, find myself and say like, I am Salvadoran American. Yeah. So I'm both. And I kind of get the best of both worlds. Sure. I do get to, of course, experience those traditions. And I think it allowed me to show a lot more appreciation for it. And it's just, our culture is just very diverse from the sense of like, obviously every Latin American and South American country, they're just so different in terms of like the culture, the food, the music, and even down to like, when you think about Spanish, it can vary depending on where you go.
Sure, the dialect, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it just, I think my family has a lot of appreciation for it, and they have a lot of appreciation for the different cultures. So
yeah, that's good. You talked. So have you gone back to El Salvador recently?
I did go in the beginning of the year.
Okay, talk to us about that trip.
Well, it wasn't actually that fun because I mainly went because my grandpa was sick. But just any chance that I get to go, I like to go. He has a farm. Yeah. He has a couple of cows, so I get to milk the cows.
Oh, very cool. Look at that.
I have to put my work boots on, and I have to go and help him out in the fields and stuff like that.
Talk about keeping you grounded. I like that.
Yes, I know. Yeah. And so it just my dad worked those fields when he was, I think, like 7. Yeah. And so my grandpa put him to work as soon as he was able to. Sure. And again, it just shows me a lot of appreciation for that, and just being able to go out there and kind of disconnect as well. Yeah. And kind of you get to step away from the city. Yeah. I think living in Dallas, I have a very fast-paced life at times. Sure. And so going to visit family, it gives me a chance to just step away from my actual life and appreciate my family and everything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Just for the record, this is water in these cups. It is, I think, 11 a.m. or something, so you don't have a drink just yet, but just wanted to set the record straight. Talk to me about a holiday tradition that means a lot to you and your family.
Oh, holiday traditions. This is actually kind of interesting. So I don't know if you know this or if anyone knows this, but we celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve is Christmas in general is just one of my favorite holidays. Yeah. We celebrate Christmas Eve. We actually open gifts at midnight. Families we pick someone's house to go to. Yeah. They make dinner. Typically one person is in charge of that. Yeah. Never me, maybe eventually. But we go and we basically just have dinner together and then just dance.
Oh, cool.
Listen to music. Yeah. And then once midnight comes, everyone opens gifts. Well, everyone goes around to hug one another.
Okay, I like that.
Everything. Say thank you, Merry Christmas, and then we start passing out gifts. Yeah. And then Christmas Day is actually kind of more for your own family that you have. Okay. And there's times where my family they're very family oriented. Whoever hosted that day, they're like, come over for what they say recalentado, which basically you just heat up the food that you made the night before and you just eat leftovers. Let's do that.
Repeat that one more time for the folks.
It's recalentado. Okay. It's basically you heat up the food. You heat up the food that you made the day before and you eat leftovers together.
Leftovers slap though, like holiday really leftovers. Like
they really slap. Do.
Okay.
But yeah, Christmas I would say is my favorite one. Just being able to spend time with family. Yeah. And I guess back to the point of like we're very family oriented. I see my parents a lot especially since I've moved out.
Yeah.
We always try to see one another at least once a month. And then just with my uncle also, just always try to spend time together.
Yeah. This holiday, this Christmas, are you expecting anything special under the tree?
I did not think this was going to come up.
I'll find a way to.
Hopefully before then, but hopefully I will be engaged by then.
Hey, let's go. We're putting that into the atmosphere.
Yes, we're going to manifest that.
That's good energy right there.
We're going to manifest that.
That we are. Okay. Switching gears a little bit, let's talk a little bit about Wingstop. And I'd love for you to share with folks that may be considering joining Wingstop what's something you want them to know?
Let's see. That's funny because somebody actually who started working here a couple of weeks ago, she reached out to me on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she interned with me back in college.
Yeah.
And she said, "Can you tell me a little bit about Wingstop?"
Yeah. And what'd you say to her? This is good content right here.
I told her that Wingstop is a lot of fun. But there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. But
it's very rewarding in the end. I would say Wingstop, I've learned a lot in the 2 years that I've been here. And it's very rewarding because you kind of get to see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
You work very hard. But it's just, you enjoy the work that you do and you enjoy the people.
Yeah.
I told her that the people is honestly one of the best things. Everyone's very welcoming. I think she's only been here a month now.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh my God, I love it."
That's good. She slid into the DMs. I like it.
Yeah, she really did. But yeah, I would say I speak very positive about Wingstop.
Yeah.
Just because I've learned a lot here. And I appreciate Wingstop a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate you back. That's good. So have you thought about just for, the little Natalies out there in the world, your career aspirations, where you see yourself in the future?
Let's see. I'd want to say I want to be sitting in that chair that you're in.
Oh, okay. Let's go. It's yours to come get.
I see my career just continuing in HR.
Yeah.
I think next steps for me would ideally be like HR business partner.
Yeah.
Things like that. I think you've done a great job of actually kind of creating that career path on our team. I don't think we've ever had that before.
Yeah.
And so I think next steps, that's where I would like to be.
Yeah.
I think long term, definitely lead my own HR team.
I like that. That's good. Well, there's a lot of opportunity here at Wingstop. Shameless plug. But yeah, I mean, it's you can really determine your own destiny, and it's about the work product. And but we are fast paced.
Yes,
and,
we are.
Yeah. So how do you keep up with the pace here?
Honestly, I just have to stay grounded and just figure out what takes priority, because there's a lot of shifting priorities constantly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just staying organized,
making
sure that I know what's top of mind, not only for you but for my leader as well, and just making sure that I stay focused on that.
Yeah, that's good. In terms of from a support perspective, talk to the audience about how you see support showing up here at Wingstop, and not just in your your work and your career growth, but just personally, how do you feel you're supported?
Supported like by Wingstop?
Yeah, by Wingstop, yeah.
Honestly, Wingstop gives me a lot of flexibility. I would say that's very rare. If I need to work from home, I get that.
Yeah.
If I need to leave early, I can do that. Working from home on Fridays is honestly a blessing. It gives me time to actually catch up at the end of the week and just do everything that I didn't focus on throughout the week.
Yeah.
But I would say, honestly, I have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah. Good to hear. Okay. So taking it back to Hispanic Heritage Month, if you could leave the audience with one thing about your culture, about your background, about your history, what would that one thing be?
Oh, that's a tough question. One thing.
One thing you want them to know about your culture.
That's a tough one. Hold on.
Take your time.
We can edit this out.
Take your time.
That's a tough one. I don't know that one thing. I would say to always value your family.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's great.
Value your family.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I appreciated chatting with you and getting to know a little bit more about you.
This is fun.
Yeah, and your family and your background and your parents and your grandparents.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. And El Salvador, of course.
Yes.
I haven't been, but it's on the list.
Yeah,
I need to pull up.
It's a very small country.
Yeah.
There's a lot to see.
Okay,
Yeah.
good deal. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to our first pod. Say that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Please subscribe, download, follow on all platforms. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Bye. Thank you.